The STL Bucket List Show is driven by Bommarito Automotive Group. Bommarito is Missouri's #1 car dealership, and they are proud to represent the #1 podcast in St. Louis, the STL Bucket List Show. We've personally purchased several vehicles from Bommarito, including our last one, which we recently just had another baby, so we had to upgrade to an SUV with third row seating. The entire team, John, Chuck, they all treated us like family. There's really nowhere else that we would buy a car in Missouri other than Bommarito Automotive Group. Enjoy the show.
If you want to hear about St. Louis, tune into the Bucket List Show weekly. Hear what Marissa and Luke say. It drops every Wednesday. Got a dope new guest every single week. Buckle up for the ride. Who's it gonna be? Who's on the show today? They rep St. Louis. What to do in the loo on a late night, or maybe what to do on a date night. Yeah, Bucket List has you covered. They know what's going on. What's going on? They'll give you, hey, 18 different things to do, or 19 if you need one more to choose. Yeah, this city is a place we call home. A place we call home.
St. Louis, we're back with another episode of the STL Bucket List Show, highlighting the people, places, and events that make St. Louis special. We have one of those people in the studio today that makes things special for people that want to travel from St. Louis and really all across the world. We have Riya Kurian in the studio today. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Riya, I'm going to read a little thing from your website, and
Okay.
I want you to introduce yourself, and then I want to learn about your childhood in St. Louis. So
Okay.
Riya is the visionary behind Next Horizon Travel, a boutique travel planning company that curates unforgettable custom travel experiences across the globe. You have a passion for cultural connection, intentional exploration. You also help clients discover the world in meaningful ways, from once-in-a-lifetime honeymoons, wellness retreats, and also family adventures. You turn dream trips into reality, and you have an eye for detail and a heart for adventure. Does that sound right?
That sounds amazing. I need that little
I'll give it
intro
to you.
for myself.
I'll give it to you. So I want to start. You're from the St. Louis area, so kind of tell us about your childhood and where you're from, and kind of what led you to this world of travel.
Okay, so I grew up in St. Louis. I went to Parkway North.
Oh, nice.
I know that's like
Yeah.
the St. Louis question.
Yeah.
We got to.
Yeah, my wife's a teacher in Parkway. So
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
Okay.
Central, so the rival.
Oh yeah. Don't tell me that. No. So I grew up in like the Creve Coeur area, and just like it was so fun, like just friends and all the high school stuff, just going to malls, all this,
malls.
that kind, yeah.
R.I.P. to the malls.
Yeah, seriously. And I decided to go to college at Rockhurst. So I still wanted to kind of stay close to St. Louis, but wanted just a little bit of a change in scenery.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So I went to Rockhurst, and after graduating college, I had this crazy opportunity to go live in France.
Oh.
And that's what kind of led me to this Next Horizon.
Yeah.
So that was 10 years ago.
Mhm.
And I had no idea this is where I would be or this is what I'd be doing. I just thought, okay, yeah, sure. I'll move to France, whatever.
Of course.
Like,
no responsibility.
yeah,
You
no
were
responsibility.
In your early 20s.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I decided to go. It was an opportunity to teach abroad. So I taught in France for 1 year, and that kind of just changed everything for me. And it really opened up my eyes to the world of travel. I had never traveled. Well, I had traveled before when I was really young,
Mhm.
but I had never been to Europe. I had never traveled by myself. Like,
Yeah.
I hadn't done anything. And I just thought, okay, I'm just going to go move there and see what happens.
Yeah.
And it was just the best time of my life.
Mhm.
It was really hard, obviously, living in a different country, but also it was so fun. Like, I was meeting people, and there was just like two sides to it,
Yeah.
where I felt like I really grew really quickly because I was all by myself in a new country.
Mhm.
And also I was meeting all these people. My personality was changing. I was kind of like shy and reserved, and I started becoming this really outgoing person. I think part of it is that when you don't have friends, like, you have to be outgoing and
You have
meet
to
people.
yeah.
Yeah. So it kind of just changed my personality entirely. And I became like this really outgoing, bubbly person, and then fell in love with traveling in Europe. And that's kind of
Yeah.
how I've gotten here.
What did your, like, because you were in the Midwest, like in St. Louis, obviously Creve Coeur, and then you went to college at Rockhurst, and like,
Yeah.
what was that conversation like with your parents and your family? They were like, because I have 2 daughters, and I'd be like, no, you're probably not going to go over there by yourself.
Yeah, that's literally exactly how it was.
Yeah.
At first, my sister and I had like
Yeah.
planned this together. We're like, okay, we'll just say like we'll both go together
Yeah.
and like
We're a
she'll drop
unit.
me off. Yeah, we're a unit. She'll drop me off and I'll be fine. But I was like, there is no way my 2 daughters are going to France
Yeah.
by themselves.
Of course. And this was your dad
yeah.
and your mom probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, you know, my dad was like, no, like, I don't know. Like, are you guys crazy?
Yeah. No.
And thinking back, I was like, were we crazy? Because there's no way
Yeah.
that was going to fly. But in our heads at the time, I was like, yes, perfect idea, foolproof.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So in the beginning, they were very hesitant, but I kind of convinced them. And in the end, he ended up dropping me off. So we both went there together. And
You wanted to scope out the town.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And he was with me for a week, which was so good. At first, I was like, this is so lame. My dad is dropping me off to France. Like,
Yeah.
I'm an adult. But
Right.
oh my goodness, like so many things went wrong that week of just like opening up a bank account,
Yeah.
grocery shopping,
Yeah.
carrying all my luggage down these trains and all these things. So if he wasn't there, I would have struggled so hard.
Shout out dads. Shout
Yeah,
out parents.
for real.
So you're in France. You know, you spent a year there. Did you just do that for an opportunity? So you were in education. So how did you get into the travel industry? Did you start traveling on your own after that? Did that inspire you to start visiting more places?
Yes.
Yeah.
So after that, so when I was in France, when you're a teacher, you get all these days off. It's crazy. Like I
Nice.
got 2 weeks off every 8 weeks, I think.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So there was so much time and I didn't know anyone. So I just thought, okay, let me just travel. And once you're in Europe, it's really easy to go to other countries and cities. Like everything is very well connected with trains. So every weekend and like every break that I got, I was just traveling all over the world. So I think I went to like 15 countries or something in that year just because I had so much time and it was just so
And affordable
easy.
too. To
Yeah,
be able to get around.
affordable,
Yeah.
accessible.
Yeah.
And you know, you can stay at hostels. You can, you know, it's like it's very, very affordable, especially when you're like 21. You don't care where you're staying.
Of course.
You don't care about anything.
Yeah.
So I really got to see Europe and I loved it. So when I came back, I knew that I wanted to keep going back and exploring new places and things like that. So I kept traveling and then I had an opportunity to live in London again. So then I just went for it. And again, when I was there, it's again, so well connected, so easily accessible. So I just kept traveling and traveling. I was like, this is what I love. And then somehow I became the friend that everyone goes to for recommendations.
Yeah.
In Europe, they'd be like, okay, I'm going to Berlin. Can you give me like a few recs and like what I should do, what I shouldn't do, blah, blah, blah. And one day I was on the phone with my sister. Shout out to my sister because she is like the person who suggested I do this.
Yeah.
She just made a joke on the phone and she said, you should start a company doing this.
Yeah.
And at that time I had another career. I had a corporate career that was very demanding, a lot of hours. And I was like, haha, yeah, like I'm going to just start a company while I'm working all these crazy hours. Like that totally makes sense. I brushed her off, but I could not get her voice out of my head for a whole week. Like on repeat, I should start a company. I should start a company. So then one day I just decided to test out the market. I just announced on my personal Instagram that I'm doing travel consulting.
Okay.
So it wasn't like a full company. It was just whatever. I didn't know who'd want to use my services. I don't know how it would look like. So it was really just like a test market.
Right.
And some friends were like, oh, this is amazing. Hey, I'm going to London. We'd love to have you consult on the trip. So that's how it started off really small. And then I still remember this. I call them my big clients.
Yeah.
A girl that I went to college with at Rockhurst asked me to plan her entire honeymoon.
Oh, wow.
I was like,
That's amazing.
okay, this is real now. Like this just got really real.
Yeah.
And I was so excited. I planned an amazing Greece honeymoon for them. And right after she called me, I was like, okay, this is becoming a company because she wanted me to do everything.
Right.
It wasn't a
Book
consult.
the flights,
Yeah.
book everything.
Book everything.
Book every
She's like,
excursion.
Yeah, everything. Hotels, everything. She's like, we trust you. We've been.
And you were checking in with her like in the itinerary. You probably
Yes.
felt like it was your trip because you're like, I need to make sure that everything's taken care of.
Exactly. And I want it to be tailored to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the really, like, what she told me was that I've been following you on Instagram, like your personal Instagram for the past 8 years.
Yeah.
And your travel looks amazing and it's totally my style. I like your personality. I like your vibe. So I know you'll do a great trip for us. So I completely trust you.
Yeah.
So that was like my pivoting moment of, okay, this is really something here. And then I did it for a year on the side with my other job. And then one day I decided, okay, it's time to go all in. It's never the right time. I still think it was a bit
So when
premature.
was that then? When did you actually launch like Next Horizon? So you had actually made your own website, you made everything for
so that was March of 2023.
First Community Credit Union is the official banking partner of STL Bucket List. They've been serving St. Louis families for 90 plus years with 40 plus local branches and over 400,000 members. From personal credit loans to mortgages to kids and teen accounts, they also have a partnership with the STL Blues. You see Louie here if you're watching on YouTube. We're proud to use First Community. I use it for my own family and my own business. We're excited for them to be the official banking partner of STL Bucket List. Okay, so you're still new then. You're still too, but you were doing it before, and that's when the best businesses are built. Is when you're already doing it. So like my wife's like this too. She has the notes on her phone. She'll share the notes in New York City to her friends when they go.
Yeah,
there.
That's literally how it started.
Yeah, you're like, here, I'm gonna add you to my note. I'll add you to my note, but like that's not clear enough. And especially when you're going to like a New York City, you're like, okay, well, what neighborhood are you staying in?
Yes.
I don't want you to have to walk, 25 blocks.
Yes.
Let me just keep you in the same neighborhoods. And then especially in Europe, you have that extra bit of stress because of the flights and then also the language barriers in some of these countries and different things like that. It's like, how can we make this as smooth as possible for people? So Next Horizon, tell me about that. So like when I was on your Instagram, obviously I was looking at some of your services. So, what I thought was really cool was like the credit card points consultation, like helping people maximize. Cause like you're working with clients of all budgets, I'm sure. It's like, hey, first big trip, world travelers, everything in between, honeymoons are bigger. But you had this core service thing, the layover, the stopover, the full voyage. Walk me through kind of what it means to work with you and like what part of the process do people they just come to you right at the beginning or?
Yeah. So usually it's right at the beginning. Some people have places picked out. Some people don't even have places picked out.
They're just asking you. They're like, book my trip.
Yes. They're like, I want to go to Europe. I was like, okay, we're talking about a lot of countries here. So let's narrow down a little bit. So that's usually my first time travelers. Honeymooners usually kind of know where they want to go. Yeah, the vibe they want.
They see the picture on IG and they're like, I want to go
here. Exactly. But first timers, they're like, oh, there's so many places I don't know where to start. And that's really where someone like me comes in who has lived there, has traveled there, knows the vibe. If someone is really hesitant because of language barrier, I tell them, okay, start in the UK.
Yeah.
Start with London, Ireland. It is still going to be very different than the US and there's so much to explore there. You're gonna love it and you don't really need to worry about the language barrier.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, most of the places you don't have to worry about language barrier, but it's just the people who are so hesitant about it.
Yeah.
It's such an easy place to start, you know? And so people come to me at different stages. So it's really people have an idea. They'll say Italy and it's like, okay, well, there's a lot of places in Italy as well. So let's narrow it down. They'll say, oh, I want like a beach vibe, but I also want a little bit of history.
And this is all like over coffee or you guys are meeting on a quick phone call? Or,
it's either a phone call or a Google Meet, a video call, something like that. So one of the things I have now set up on my website is you just book a free consultation immediately. If you click book your consultation, it pops up my calendar. Okay. And you just like schedule into my calendar. So it's a guaranteed time slot that's, that works for the both of us. And we just get chatting. So that's really with the full voyage. So like you said, I have three services. One is the layover, stopover, and the full voyage. The layover is really for someone who's already planned their trip and wants an expert eye on it. So it's just a 1 hour call and you're telling me, okay, these are the places I am going to. What am I missing here? How do I connect from Vienna to Munich? Like, should I be flying? Should I be taking a train? What should I do? What are some cool bars in Prague? Things like that. Very focused, specific questions, not an overall kind of thing.
Okay.
And then the stopover is a little bit longer. It's for people who like to plan, but they still want the very best recommendations. Like you search hotel in Vienna, like thousands and thousands of hotels are going to pop up.
Right. And reviews are skewed sometimes. And some of that
Yes.
stuff's paid for.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
especially now, you like do not know what's a real review and what's not a real review.
Right.
So it would look something like, okay, I'm going to Vienna for 5 days. I want to hit all the main places, but I also want some hidden gems.
Mhm.
I want a really nice, luxurious hotel
Yeah.
as well. What are your recs? So that would be stopover, which looks like, okay, hotel recommendations, Park Hyatt Vienna or the Rosewood. And then here are all the places you should go to. Here are some hidden gems, best coffee shops. It just depends on what you want our recs from.
Right.
So if you're like, oh, I don't like coffee, well, I'm not going to give you like coffee. Right?
Of course.
It doesn't make any sense.
Mhm.
So that one's also kind of, you can make it your own, but it's a little bit more planning involved. I could even help with train routes and where to book it, things like that.
Mhm.
And then the full voyage is usually when people either have no idea or have very specific ideas but don't know where to start.
Right.
And with that, it's the call. We have our initial call. We talk about what you're trying to gain from your trip, from your honeymoon, and then we kind of go from there. So after our initial call, what we'll do is I will send a proposed itinerary. So let's say you're trying to go to Italy.
Mhm.
You want some sort of beach vibe. You want the Amalfi Coast, but you also want a little bit of history. So, the easiest way would be starting in Rome because it obviously has a lot of history. It's a
Yes.
direct flight.
Mhm.
Well, not from St. Louis, but
From Chicago or
Chicago,
yeah.
New York,
Yeah.
anything like that. So you do a little bit of history there. Then let's get you relaxing on the coast, and we'll go over to Amalfi Coast. So
Yeah.
it's a PDF that just gives you, okay, day 1 in Rome, arrival,
Yeah.
roam around the city. Here's some food recs, things like that.
Nice.
Day 2, let's do, the Colosseum. And then the rest of the day is, exploring on your own. So I don't like a very crazy schedule
Mhm.
where you feel like you're,
It's a job.
yeah, it's like a job.
Yeah. And that's
But-
how most travel is when you go to places. You book every excursion. You're like, oh my God, I feel like I'm working right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you want to see the things you want to see,
Of
right?
course,
Like you
yeah.
can't, Colosseum's going to sell out or,
Yeah.
the Vatican, it's going to
Yeah.
be crazy. So you still want to have some sort of structure to your trip, but you really want that downtime to explore. And that to me is the part of the intentional
Yeah.
travel that I really like to tell people about
Mhm.
because there's nothing better than just roaming the city.
Mhm.
Because some of the best moments, they're not planned. You just happen upon it.
People watching,
Exactly.
slow mornings.
Exactly.
So intentional travel, let's talk a little bit more about that. So how do people travel deeper, not just wider? Because when you think of okay, I'm going to go here once, a lot of times this will be the only time they'll ever go to this place.
Right.
So that you feel this anxiety or the FOMO. When
Yes.
my wife and I go, we like different things. Sometimes she just wants to go to the spa, but I'm like, no, we got to go to this place or we got to go to this place. But we are different in that of
Yeah.
I want to go,
Yeah.
and she wants to chill.
Yeah.
So it's when you think of people traveling deeper, not just wider, and that being intentional, what does that mean to you?
So to me, it's really experiencing the culture and taking out the checklist item
Mm-hmm.
out of it. So yes, you go to Rome. I'm not going to sit here and tell you don't go to the Colosseum. You're there. I've been there. I can't sit here as someone who's already been there being like, oh,
Yeah, don't go there.
don't go there.
Yeah.
It's overrated. It's not.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why it's touristy. There's a reason why people want to go there. It's, it has a lot of history. It's important. But at the same time, give yourself opportunity to stay at a really boutique hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. Go to local restaurants and support them and sit there and just have a conversation over a meal because I feel like a lot of times our meals are 30 minutes to an hour.
Yeah,
and that is
quick.
not at all the culture
Mm-hmm.
in Europe. I literally write in all my itineraries, make sure you know that everything is slow there. So when you go to eat, it's going to be a 2.5 hour.
And don't plan
hour.
something right after.
Yeah,
Because then
exactly.
that's when that anxiety kicks in. You're like, oh my God, we're running out of time. Can we get our check? You know?
Yeah, exactly. And then just being out. So one of the beautiful things about European cities is there's this concept of third places. And I think it's becoming really, really popular on social media and things like that. And it's very true. So a third place is a place outside of your home or your work where you connect with people.
Mhm.
And that really exists in European cities because there are a lot of like squares and like city centers where people just gather and people watch, or just like they're performers and things like that. And it's a really nice community,
Mhm.
where people are just gathering for fun. One of
Right.
my favorite things is to tell people to go to a really busy spot for sunset.
Mhm.
And people are like, wait, why? There's going to be so many people there. I was like, that's the whole point.
Right.
You're all sharing in something really beautiful that's happening.
Mhm.
And you get a moment to just slow down and just be there. Like, wow, what a great opportunity. I'm sitting on a hill in Florence watching the sunset around all these people, and we're just watching the sun go down. Like
Yeah.
it does it every day,
Mhm.
but it's such a beautiful moment to just share it with other people. It doesn't have to be about getting the perfect photo. It doesn't have to be about any of that. It's just you're sitting there and enjoying. I think that adds to
Mhm.
intentional travel of like, okay, what do I feel in this moment while I'm here?
Of course.
Yeah.
For over 150 years, SSM Health has been providing hope, healing, and opportunities to the St. Louis community. With over 40,000 employees across 4 states, they're not only delivering exceptional care, they're one of the region's largest employers, shaping the future of healthcare. We're proud to present SSM Health as the official healthcare partner of the STL Bucket List Show. If you've dreamed of a career where you're truly making a difference every day, SSM Health can help you take that to the next step. Learn more at their website in the link in the show notes. No, that's special. So we're talking about 2025. It's summer. It's the heat of family travel. It's the heat
Yes.
of trips.
Yes.
Where are your clients going this year? I mean, what's a common thing that you're seeing this year?
So I do a lot of Italy and Greece.
Okay, of course. Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Especially
amazing.
with the honeymooners and also first
Yeah.
timers.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to go to Italy.
Yeah.
It is all over social media.
Mm-hmm.
I try my best to suggest other places just because there is a little bit of over tourism going on in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I can't be the person who's been to Italy multiple times being like, don't go
You
there.
can skip it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can skip it.
Right.
So
you're seeing Italy, of course, Greece. Like obviously, you think of Greece, like all over TikTok. You have the white buildings,
yes,
the beautiful,
yes,
in
Santorini.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the funny thing about that is it's such a small area in
Yeah.
Santorini. It's like one street.
Is it really? It just
Yeah.
makes it look a lot bigger when you're like.
It
looking
really
on the videos.
does. And
Yeah.
it's crowded with people. So
Yeah.
I always have to tell, especially my honeymooners, I'm like, just know what you're going to expect. We can still stay there for
Yeah.
a couple of nights. We'll stay at a really nice local
Yeah.
hotel. They'll curate such a great experience.
Right.
But let's go to the smaller islands that I guarantee you're going to love even more.
And more romantic, more
Yes.
quiet, slow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And every couple comes back, they're like, oh, this island was my favorite. And it's
Yeah.
never Santorini.
Yeah. People
Yeah.
don't think about it, man. And it's hard. And like we mentioned AI off camera, and I'm like, okay, I can book these trips sometimes through AI. Not book
Yeah.
them, but like you can get these recommendations. But nothing beats a person to person relationship. And it's
It really
like,
doesn't.
especially with us, like we just planned our daughter's party. We had a party, and it's like, man, I wish I just had somebody help me with this. Like one
Yeah.
other person
Yeah.
that's just focused on that party
Yeah.
because we have to do everything else. And then it's like, oh my gosh, we forgot to order enough food and we were freaking
Yeah.
out. And like just
Yeah.
those little details that come into it. And like we've used all the apps before. I've used Expedia. I've used, and they're all good in their own way. They
Right.
help you narrow
Right.
things down, but
Right.
like there's no customer service. There's
No.
there's no lived experience. And then,
Mhm.
like you mentioned, you can read the reviews, but you'll drive yourself crazy looking at these reviews because you'll read 500 really good ones and you'll see that one bad one. And then
you're spiraling.
Yeah, you're
thinking, like,
spiraling.
oh,
You're like,
what
I already
about that
booked it.
one
I already
left?
booked it. I already booked it. And then you're getting anxiety. I mentioned
Yeah.
anxiety, but like there's a lot that goes into these trips that's like,
Yeah.
crazy. So you're seeing Italy and Greece. What about your bucket list spots? So like, let's just say I'm a long-term client of yours. I've already been to all these like, general spots, the first time honeymoon. Let's just say like, you're like, okay, what's that trip? And it might not even be price-wise, but like, where do you think that everybody should go to at least once? Do you have those a couple bucket list spots?
Ooh. Okay. Other than the obvious ones, like,
Yeah.
the Italy and the
Yeah.
London and all that. Maybe like cities that have surprised me,
Mhm.
I would say one of them is Helsinki, Finland,
Okay.
which it's the hard people don't think about it at
Yeah.
all. But it really surprised me as a town and the city,
Mhm.
people, everything. There's nature, there's city, and like the nature, it's almost like comparable to Norway, but Norway,
Mhm.
everyone talks about Norway, everyone knows Norway, but I
Yeah.
rarely ever hear people talking about Finland. There are lakes, there are mountains, there's hiking.
Mm-hmm.
I have not gone in the winter because the winters are brutal.
Yeah, I could imagine.
But the winter's supposed to be amazing because they have like the Santa Claus Village and all that. So it's like,
wow.
It's truly amazing.
Yeah.
I just haven't had the courage to do that yet because I'm not a winter person.
Is it skiing and stuff? Like skiing?
Yeah. So there's so many winter activities, but in the summer it's so nice. It's like there's no heat wave. The weather is perfect, and it's one of those cities that you just kind of roam around and it's almost like it's a really good solo travel city. I'm a big solo traveler.
Are you really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So most of the places I've been solo.
Yeah.
And so I love encouraging, especially women, to do solo travel because I feel like a lot of us are really scared to do it.
Of course.
So when I get women who are like, oh, I want to do it, but I'm scared. I want, I want a safe place, blah, blah, all these kind of things. Helsinki is like one of the perfect places for that because it's a great wandering city. Let's say you just quit your really terrible job and you're burnt out. Go on a nice freeing solo trip. That kind of trip is not packed with stuff, right? And Helsinki is such a great city to do
like
that.
slow down a little bit. Like you get out of a bad relationship or something and you want to go take this trip. And that's really unique. I don't think people are probably looking it up right now. They probably don't even know. Like they're probably typing it in as they listen.
What is Helsinki?
So that was, I guess, also fit into the underrated too. You posted something a couple weeks ago about underrated places too.
Yes.
Where was that at? I was on your IG.
Slovakia. Yeah.
Okay.
That was Bratislava, Slovakia.
Yeah.
Slovenia is another one. Ljubljana, Lake Bled. It's just places that are not mainstream popular. And it's funny because it's like the spots the Europeans vacation.
Yeah.
So one of the things I learned from living there is that this is where they're going because it's less American and Australian and all these other tourists coming in. And they're such beautiful little towns, total hidden gems that actually need your tourism, and the local businesses thrive on tourism. So let's kind of mix some of those spots in there too, is what I try to do.
I love doing that in cities, even in like the US of like going to cities, but then it's like, imagine if like somebody's coming into St. Louis, it's like, okay, instead of staying downtown at the Arch, let's put you in Soulard or let's put you in the Grove or Cherokee Street or one of these neighborhoods where you can actually like feel like you're a part of the neighborhood.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you a couple quick questions. So fun and personal stuff. What's one item you can't travel without?
Ooh. Okay, my compression socks.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
It makes
because you walk a lot.
Huge. Just the flight over.
Yeah.
I need my Bombas compression socks. It's not sponsored, but they're the best ones out there.
We're gonna get that sponsorship.
But my compression socks.
Yeah.
You are going to walk like 20,000 steps.
Oh yeah,
a day.
it's crazy.
It's so good, especially like don't bring your heels. Like don't do that. There's cobblestone. Get a cute little, white sneakers or fun little sneakers that you can wear with everything.
Yeah.
Put those compression socks on, and then
that's a good tip because people will be bringing all their heels, and tripping over that cobblestone and rolling an ankle.
Yeah, totally. And I get like nice dinners. You can bring your heels if you're just walking, but like for all day walking, you need like flat shoes for sure.
So unlimited budget.
Okay.
Place you haven't been at. Dream trip. What's something that's still on your list that you haven't done yet? Because you've been a lot of places. So
I have. In Europe or anywhere in the world?
I think you just do anywhere. Because I know Europe's your thing, but
yes, Europe is what I specialize in. But somewhere I haven't been is, there's two that I can't pick between.
Yeah, go ahead.
An African safari.
Yeah.
I haven't done one yet, and it's so high on my list. And Argentina.
Okay.
Those are the two that are at the top that I haven't even thought of.
Planning. You mentioned you traveled not as much as a kid to these Europeans, but was there a trip as a kid that you remember that was fun?
That's a hard one because I don't have a lot of childhood memories because I moved around a lot as a kid.
Right.
So I think I remember our first New York City trip.
That's cool.
Parts of it.
Love New York.
Statue of Liberty, all that, like all the kind of bucket list spots, especially your first time there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would say that's one of them.
That's a fun, high-packed, like, people-watching trip. As a kid from
Yes.
Missouri, you're like, whoa.
Yes. Like,
what's
what is going
here?
on? There's so many people here.
That's how I felt about Vegas.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, I thought these people were just in movies. And it's like, no, people are kind of crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
And then last one is a lesson that travel has taught you about life. So you mentioned intentional. You mentioned like all these different things that you've done with travel, and even traveling by yourself. That's when you can really reflect. So is there any like specific life lesson that you've learned about travel that you think would be, something that you'll keep forever?
Oh, for sure.
You can list a couple too.
Yeah. I think the biggest lesson is you don't need to prove yourself to anyone. And I think there, especially with social media and just like being so success oriented, and I get it. I am also like that. I grew up in a very high achieving family where it's like, you're always trying to prove yourself. The funny thing is when you're traveling, no one knows you. You can be anyone, and it doesn't matter who you are. You don't have to prove anything to anyone when you're traveling.
Yeah.
You were a random person on the street that maybe someone will notice you, maybe they won't. They notice you and then they forget about you. None of it matters. So I feel like we put so much pressure on ourselves to be this person, this personality. Oh, I need to achieve this. I need to achieve that. Sure, you can achieve all those things, and I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
But you don't need to prove it. Do it for yourself. Don't do it for anyone else.
Looking for something light, crisp, and absolutely refreshing? Zwickle Light by Urban Chestnut is the official light beer of the STL Bucket List Show. It's less than 100 calories, and it's the perfect drink for summer. Enjoy a beer at the beer garden, in the Grove, or chilling at home in the backyard with your friends and family. This episode is sponsored by Upshot Coffee. 3 St. Louis area locations in Cottleville, Break Shop in St. Charles, and their new Hi-Fi location in Clayton. I personally use Upshot Coffee every day at my espresso machine at home, and I try to visit one of the shops at least once a week. They source the beans responsibly from local farms all across the world, and they take care of their staff, and they take care of the community. Let's get back to the show.
Because no one's watching. No one's
I
really
think
watching.
that struggle with the IG stuff is like people will want to post it, but then if the picture doesn't look the way they want it to look, and then like the Instagram boyfriends are like trying to take these pictures.
Yes, I've been there, so I'm guilty.
Yeah, but like you're like, okay, like you didn't like turn the brightness down enough. It's not like aesthetic enough for this picture, but like at the end of the day, like it is about soaking up that experience and like actually being present.
Yes.
But yeah, Instagram is really great to connect, but then that's where the FOMO comes in, because then they see your life and they probably think that, oh my gosh, like she gets to travel for work, but they don't understand like you leaving your job to do this and like the amount of money you've invested in the brand, and even like what we're doing today, like you're marketing your brand, you're spending money, you're investing. But yeah, I mean, you do seem like you have a pretty cool job.
No, I do, and I'm so like grateful and lucky.
Do research and development.
Exactly. Every time I travel, I'm like, this is work. I am not enjoying myself at all here. This is all work.
And it is like built-in content. Like I'm looking at your page, and like I just looked at your personal page, so you get to have all this cool stuff on there.
Yeah.
I like your branding. Like the pictures are really fun, and like the fonts and the colors and everything. So
Thank
you're really intentional about the branding and stuff like that. So you just moved back to St. Louis.
Yes.
So you're getting your brand out here in St. Louis.
Yes.
What are some of the spots that you've been going to lately since you got back that have been really fun and like really cool to kind of rediscover St. Louis in a different way? Because when you grew up, you were in West County, and now like you're getting to like discover all these new places, and it's changed so much in 10 years.
It's changed so much.
Yeah.
I love Webster Groves.
Yeah.
It is such a cute little town.
It is really.
And it's so many nice restaurants. Like I'm a big coffee snob.
Okay.
So that's been my main.
So you probably go to the Annex.
I go to the Annex. I love Telva on the Ridge.
So
it's so good. The food is
amazing.
good. It's European, so it's like, she's
Bosnian. Yeah, Bosnian, and
Yeah.
and then they have the flower shop in the basement.
Yeah,
so it's just like a vibe.
It is a total vibe. I was there. I'm there all the time. If you ever want to come
Have
by
you met Lauren yet? Have you met
No,
Lauren?
I haven't met the owners.
Yeah, she was on the show a little bit ago, but yeah, she's amazing. I think she's got the James Beard for Balkan Treat Box, her other restaurant.
So
that's
good
her other spot
as well. Yeah. Balkan Treat Box.
So Webster's like a nice little spot where you can shop, eat. The Annex is so cool. They have the little shop you can get food for later.
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
you can take meetings there on the back
walk around
patio.
there.
What about other coffee shops? Where else?
I've been to 23 West. That's also
That's a
over
cute
there.
spot,
I
yeah.
like living room over here
right,
in Maplewood.
Yeah, that's a
I
really nice
love,
spot.
yeah, I love that vibe. Oh my gosh, I have such a long list of places.
What about
saved
date
on my
night
phone.
spots?
Date night spots. Okay, I'm recently single.
So you've probably been going on a lot of dates.
I've been going on a couple, but I'm not the one picking them.
Yeah.
But I went to, oh shoot. Now I'm going to forget. Something Tiger.
Lazy Tiger.
Lazy Tiger.
Yeah.
That was a cute little spot.
Yeah, really good cocktails.
Yeah, really good
Mezcal. He's got like
cocktails.
a mezcal, like kind of Mexico vibe with the drinks, like a lot of tequilas, a lot of agave spirits and stuff like that. And really
Yeah.
good food too, but it's
Really
super
good.
sexy in there.
Yeah, so I love the vibe in there, and it was small and intimate.
Yep.
I think that's a good. I can't take credit for it because the guy picked it.
Hey, it's all good.
But
now
it's
you got
good.
it on
Yeah,
your
so
list.
now I have it on
Regardless of
my
that guy,
list.
you still
Yeah.
have it on there.
Yeah,
You can take the next
exactly.
guy there. If anybody's asking, she can take you to. But like Lazy Tiger's really good. I need to give you a couple spots. You need to go to Esca, which is like a Spanish Mediterranean spot. That's in the Del Mar Maker district. That's by Ben Paremba. He also has Florentine, which is like an Israeli street food place, which is like like falafels and the Turkish eggs that you get from Telva, like shawarmas, all that stuff.
That kind of
super
vibe.
good.
Right.
Nick's does over there. That's a Mexican spot.
That one I've heard is really
Yeah,
good. Yeah,
that's
and
like
Olive and
ceviches.
Oak I've
Olive
heard
and
is really
Oak.
good.
The O&O Pizza people, they own Olive and Oak, Clover and the
Yes.
Bee, and O&O Pizza, which is all right there in Webster.
there,
And then
yeah.
if you like sushi, you got to go to Sato.
I just heard about that last weekend. I'm
Yeah.
like, I need to go.
He's a James Beard finalist too, and he has a omakase experience in the back. They have a cabin in the back of the restaurant, and it's an 18-course omakase.
I'm into this. Okay.
Nick's amazing, and then there's a ramen spot called Minya Rui.
Yes.
Which is hard to get into. There's a line
a
outside.
huge line.
But he
I
spent
went
time
one
in
time.
Japan.
Yeah.
Oh, did you go?
I went, but the line was too long, and
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to come back at an odd time, like 3 p.m. or something.
But even when they open, people wait before they open.
really,
It's crazy.
of course.
But it's so small. There's like 12 seats. So,
Okay.
and it goes pretty quick. But
Okay.
Minya Rui, he spent time in Japan. So like St. Louis has like all these cultures that when you live in a Creve Coeur, you live in a West County, you don't experience these cultures
Exactly.
until you get in there. And now Creve Coeur has a lot of stuff going for them now. But as
It's
a
definitely
kid,
changed a lot from when I was there. But it is. I'm rediscovering St. Louis. That's been the best part about coming back.
yeah,
Because even though I'm from here and I grew up here, it doesn't feel that way because it's changed so much.
yeah.
So it's like a new city, and it's so exciting. And I've
Yeah.
met so many cool people. There are events, and
Yeah.
so it's been so good.
The STL Bucket List Show is proudly sponsored by Suede Dispensary. With 11 Missouri area locations, Suede does so much for the St. Louis community. We've been working with this team for a couple years back since medical was here, and we're excited to support their new product launches, events, and community initiatives. We couldn't be happier to work with this premier cannabis brand, and we're excited for them to sponsor the show. Enjoy the rest of the podcast. That's awesome. Well, we're glad to have you in St. Louis, and we want you to start getting more. So are your clients in St. Louis, or they're everywhere?
They're everywhere, but a lot of Midwest.
Okay.
So I got a lot of St. Louis, and I used to live in Ohio, so I got a lot of Ohio. Just because I'm basically all word of mouth. My referrals are
Right.
all word of mouth right
Well, not
now.
until this podcast comes out.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to be hitting you up. But the St. Louis people, like, I mean, obviously. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about travel agencies. So how do you find a niche in this? Because I feel like everybody knows a travel, or
Yeah.
we used to. I
Yeah.
guess they're kind
Yeah,
of few and far between, but like every
Yeah.
family kind of has an aunt or an uncle.
Yes.
Or
the,
mostly
the
an
one
aunt.
person
Yeah.
that does it.
And
yeah.
it's so much like the Apple vacations and like the old school way of doing it, where it's like, here's the 3 things you can do. And you have to book one of those packages because they might make a commission on certain ones
Yes.
and stuff. So
Yeah.
that's completely different than what you're doing. So
Yes.
how is your niche different, and like why, just to let people know like what makes it different with working with you compared to some of these other maybe bigger companies?
Sure. So one of the big things is that I only plan trips to countries that I have personally visited.
Okay.
So not a lot of travel agents are like that.
Not a lot of people can do that. That's a
yeah,
lot of places.
Yeah, it is a lot of places. So my list isn't, it's not like huge. It's not all over the world, which is another reason why my niche is Europe.
Yeah.
Because I've lived there so many times and I've traveled around so many times. I've got that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is, anyone can Google where best restaurants to eat. Like if you're Googling best restaurants to eat, I don't think your travel agent is doing the right job.
Right.
So I have a vetted list of restaurants. And when I travel now, I go and meet with hotels. I vet them out and I make sure, they
you
pass.
get contacts of people and like ways
Exactly.
that maybe you can communicate when a guest is coming.
Exactly. You want a hotel that's responsive, right? Things like that. So there's a lot that goes into it.
Mm-hmm.
And having someone plan your trip who has actually visited the place it makes all the difference because, like I said, anyone can Google, but there have been trips that I've been on where I've done so much research. I've Googled everything and I get there. It's nothing like that and everything has gone wrong.
Yeah.
There is nothing you can replace with the actual experience of being there.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what I bring to the table.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, okay, when I went, not that your trip is going to be exactly like my trip,
Yeah.
but the train doesn't really operate that way. This is how they actually do it. You know, little things like that makes such a huge difference in your trip because the things that go wrong aren't the big things. It's the little things like that. Oh, I didn't catch the right train. So now I'm late to this cooking class or, you know, whatever. It's not the cooking class itself that's bad. It's the way you got there,
right.
You know? So it's little things like that I can offer that makes me different than most travel agents that I have met. And I'm constantly traveling. Again, it's all work. So, you know, I'm not even enjoying it. So I'm constantly traveling.
It's all tax deductible.
You know, staying up to date. I have so many European friends who always help me out, giving their
social media helps too. You can follow all these pages and be like, oh, new restaurant. Like, let me check them out next time I'm there and just see. So your clients, I would assume you probably plan for people maybe in your same demo, like maybe younger, you know, in their, you know, is that what you're seeing?
No, all
because I saw some
place.
of your testimonials. Some of them were like, you know, empty nesters, their kids just moved out. Maybe they're traveling. So it's just a mix.
All over the place. I do get, obviously a lot of the honeymoons are around my age.
Yeah.
And a lot of people who find me through Instagram are my age just because they like my aesthetic and vibe overall. But I get, I've gotten retired couples. I get busy professionals is another one that I get. They're like,
people just don't want to mess with it.
They don't.
Like, hey,
they're like, I don't have time.
Something.
I'm working 80 hours. We both want to go on a trip. Can you do this whole thing for us?
And you're like, yep, let's go.
Yeah, let's go. And I get it. And I try to I want to talk to you. I don't want to take up too much of your time because I get it. I used to work a really demanding job.
Right.
So especially with my busy professionals, I try to make the contact as easy as possible while also asking for their feedback because it's their trip and not mine. Right. You know?
And then some clients, like a honeymoon, the wife might want to be a little bit more involved in it.
Yes.
And then some is different and maybe the husband's more involved or whoever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's great. I mean, I think that really when you think of it and like we have two little babies, so like now our trips are looking so different. So like I don't want to stay at the busy place. I want to stay at this place. So like we're going to Florida in a couple weeks and we're just going to Clearwater Beach, but like everything was different. This was our first big trip. We have a 17-month-old and a 3-month-old, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, okay, how can I get all their stuff on the plane? How can I make sure I can rent the right car seats down there? And like all this crap that I'm like, this is terrible. And it makes you not even want to go. You know?
It's like
You're
lot more
easier
steps.
to stay. And then it's like, then we're going to have to be somewhere with a pool. So we got a house with a pool because then we can put the kids down and still go swimming and not have to like end our nights at 7 p.m. every day. So I'm like, can we bring, and I asked my wife, I'm like, can we just bring like my mom with us? And she's like, I don't want our first family trip to be with your mom. But I'm like, that would help us though.
Yeah, I do see the family trip.
But I get what she's saying. She's like, I really don't want our first family of 4 trip to be with your mom. And my mom's probably listening too. So sorry, mom.
You know, this happens all the time with like family trips.
Yeah.
In the end, they just end up bringing an in-law and life's so much easier. But I get it. I get it. Yeah.
So no, I appreciate you for coming on. Next Horizon, guys, tap in. Most of our listeners are in St. Louis, so it's officially travel season. Obviously, a lot of people are probably booking for next year's travel and different things like that. Yeah. Best way to get a hold of you, I would assume, go to your Instagram, follow it, but then also go to nexthorizontravel.com. They can fill out the form there and set up a call with you right on the spot.
Right on the spot. Okay. Just click book your consultation. I'll take you to my calendar and you are in.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
And we'll see you next week, St. Louis. Thanks for listening to another episode. I think like 170 something. I'm losing count. 175, 176. We'll put it in the notes. So you guys are good. So we'll see you next week.
Hey, St. Louis, Brent Labowitz law firm, personal injury law firm here in St. Louis. Excited to be part of the STL Bucket List and sponsor them for their podcast. Just want to go ahead and say, if you ever need a personal injury lawyer here in town in St. Louis, give us a call, look us up. you get involved in an accident of any type at all, give us a call, free case evaluation. We'll try to walk you through the process.
Today, they rep St. Louis. What to do in the loo on a late night, or maybe what to do on a date night. Yeah, Bucket List has you covered. They know what's going on. What's going on, they'll give you, hey, 18 different things to do, or 19 if you need one more to choose. Yeah, this city is a place we call home. A place we call home, yeah.